and I am Chef Paul, and today I'm going to tell you a little story. This is a story about a little girl and a nose for good taste of some good food and some really good friends from India. My wife and I will go for a little bit of a walk, and we leave our apartment. Every now and again we'll walk down the hall, and there's one apartment you can smell the whole length of the hallway. And I'm not saying it's bad, it's actually really good. It's our friends from India, and when they cook, they cook. They actually want to open up a restaurant soon, and their food is that amazing they can, because they're really, really good at what they do. And they're the nicest people in the world. We've been invited in, we've tasted their meals, and they've actually stepped with me, and they talked with me, and give me a little bit of guidance on how to do some things. Now, this is one of their meals, and I can't give you the name because I can't say it. It is Indian. They're not Indian Canadian, they're actually fresh from India. They're really, really good guys, and I love them to death. And today I'm going to be making some coconut beef. Now, this is not going to be, to any real Indians that are watching this, and I'm talking people from India, this is not going to be your style. This is not going to be as good as what you can do, and I understand that. I'm just going to do my best to do what I can do to make this as good as I can. So, what we're starting with is some beef stew in cubes. I would recommend getting as best quality as you can. It should be fresh, not frozen. And you know what I mean? Because the best cut of beef you can get, the better off you're going to be. So we got some masala, some Jamaican curry powder. It was easy to find. And a lot of the stuff, if you go to Walmart in the ethnic aisle, you will find a lot of this. Some ground cumin, tajirin, and some ground salt. With salt, we really don't need a whole lot. We really don't. So we're going to put some spices in. I'm going to put this in the fridge. We're going to let this set for an hour or two. You can let it set for longer if you want. But the longer you leave it marinate, the better it's going to be for you. Because believe me, when you let things marinate, it seeps in, it breathes it in. It does really, really good. And the lesson I learned from my Indian friends is that you can put as much spice in it now as you want, because you can use a little bit of coconut milk and numb it down a bit so it's not so hot if you can't handle the heat. But you can fix that after. But if it's not hot enough for you, you can't really go back and change it to make it hotter, unless you want to use sriracha sauce, which kind of defeats the meal, right? So add very liberal amounts of stuff. And by all means, have some coconut milk. I mean, believe me, coconut milk is, and Amy will tell you herself that it tastes amazing anyways. And it's going to give it a nice, a very nice sweet texture too. Because this is going to take a while to cook, but I want the meat to be nice and flavored and have it, really, really nicely done. So, I mean, that would be for spice. You give me a second. Come on. My cats are a little hyper. Come on, here, Amy. This is Oscar. Oscar wants to say hi. He wants to be a part of the video. He said hi. He's a very lovely cat. So we're going to take this spoon and we're just going to mix this in really nice. So the spices are all nicely mixed in, the salt's all in. And we're going to leave this for at least an hour. And God knows, it might be a couple hours. I might take a nap in a bit and come back, wake up, and Amy and I will start this. You don't know. But it's going to have some rice to it. It's going to have some coconut to it. It's going to be really good. And Amy can come in and notice how this is being mixed in really good. If you're not an Indian fan, this is probably not going to be your dish, and I get that. If you've never had Indian, this might be a good way to try it. I encourage everybody to try to eat something once. Don't like it, don't have to have it again, right? But at least try it once. I got some vegetables I'm going to serve with this. But this is pretty good right now. So we're going to find some room in the fridge for this. It's going to sit there for at least an hour. And then we're going to start cooking things up. And you know what? I think you'll like this. Amy, what do you think?
I think I'll love it.
I'm very sure you will. So, anyways, that's it for now. When this is done marinating, we're ready to cook. We'll come back. Oscar says he's looking forward to hearing from you. Love yous. We'll talk to you soon. Welcome back. So the meat has been marinating probably for about 3 hours. I said we give it at least one. It's been at least one. It's actually been 3. So we're gonna start the cooking process now. So extra virgin mild. I gave Amy the opportunity to get some sauce, so she chose mild. Yeah, it's all right. Seriously though, it's actually pretty good. So we're gonna line some olive oil down here. This is Indian food. It's not health food per se. I mean, if you're somebody really trying to watch oil, you might want to put a little less. But the key word here, this is extra virgin. Always get extra virgin. And you know what? Get whatever's on sale. So we're going to turn the oven on. We're going to put it on about 6.
Turn the fan.
And of course, like my lovely regular wife reminds me, put it on 6. So we've got some onions, some ginger, and some garlic, coconut milk, and some lime, and some lemon juice. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get the olive oil nice and heated up. Wait for that to heat up pretty good. Now I'm also going to use some nutmeg, some more ginger. We don't need this. I don't know why he has that out. Her mind's always on something really weird, but that's all right. She's Dutch. That's just the way she is. We're going to have some parsley, but that's not going on until the end. And we're going to have, of course, some more spices. And one of the most important things is coconut milk. Now, here's something I was taught. It's better to spice things up really miserably hot now, because you can always dumb it down with coconut milk. So I have a few things of coconut milk. I might use a little bit more, whatever. And we're going to start with the vegetables, and then we're going to go on with the meat, and I'll show you the meat. I mean, this has been sitting in, and you know what? Leaving this sit in for a while, it really does good. Makes it a little bit more flavorful. Now, our friend Sarah is asking us why buy on Amazon. This is a nice $35 set that I just bought off of Amazon. It's from a brand called Poul. Works really good. I was able to cut through ginger like nothing. I was able to cut everything really quick, really efficiently. So to Sarah, I tell you, you know what, you can go to Walmart and you get their cheap shit brand, and that's what it is. It's not the greatest, it's not terrible, but it's not great, but you get what you pay for. With Amazon, you can actually get some pretty darn good deals. I always find that. So I'm going to take the onions. This is about 2 onions. Amy and I really like our onions. And you can tell that it's already starting to heat up because you can hear the sizzle. So it's going to spread this around here. We want this to caramelize nicely. Then we're going to take the ginger. And it's nice. Dishwasher number 1 and dishwasher number 2 is behind the camera. Sarah knows what I'm saying. So we're just going to get this started to caramelize, and put some Indian spice in here. We start with some garam masala. And to all my Indian friends, and they swear by this, not putting this in your Indian food is like committing sacrilege. Don't ever do it. They will hunt you down. I wish I could tell you I'm joking. I'm not. This is some curry powder. Sharon. And I know if they decide to watch this, they're going to get a little cranky with me because I'm not saying it right. I'm not Indian, so I'm not necessarily very talented at pronouncing. And this is ground cumin. Ask me privately sometime about a little story about ground cumin. In private. And I'm going to put a little bit of salt, I should say what I'm actually doing. This is not part of the recipe, but this is nutmeg. I like having a little bit of nutmeg. It's my hopes that everybody walking down this hall will get confused thinking the Indians are over here. They just live like 3 doors down. And you walk down there, you get a little breath of heaven because, I mean, every time they cook, everybody knows it. And they're really good at it. So I'm just going to give this a stir. And you want to wait until things start caramelizing a little bit better. So for now, I'm going to let you go. When this is done caramelizing and I'm ready to add the meat, then I'll come back. So we'll see in a few minutes. Alright, so sorry for the inappropriateness. As you can see now, this is nice and starting to caramelize. I promise you everybody out in the hallway can smell this. So now, this is the meat. I didn't put any sauce on it. A lot of times when you're marinating you do. But in this case, we're not using sauce. This is going to make its own little gravy here. We're going to start putting this in here. We're going to mix it around a little bit. Now this is going to take quite a bit to cook, but you want to make sure that the meat is cooked all the way through. Now I know people who will sit there and this meat's going to cook for 2 hours. Doesn't need to in this particular case. I want this to make its own natural gravy. I want it to be nice cooked through, but I want it to be tender. So you need to stir it around a little bit every now and again, but you don't have to baby it. I'm going to sit there and then I'm going to leave it alone for 10 minutes. I might try to find a cover for it, which I doubt I have. And if I don't, we don't really care. But it's going to sit there for 10 minutes and then we're going to check it again. So when I'm ready to check it again, we'll come back. So we'll see you in a few. Welcome back. So this has been sitting here for 10 minutes. So we're going to take the lid off and how's it smell, Amy?
Excellent. Smells like an Indian's been in here.
So now it's been cooking enough here, and now I'm going to start playing some milk or some coconut milk. to make its own little gravy, and it's going to make it really, really nice. Now, in here, since we're started, I'm just going to put a little bit of nutmeg. And you know what? I'm just going to put a little garlic. You never have too much. Now you can see how this is starting to form into its own little gravy, right? So it's going to curry. So this is actually, believe it or not, it's a curry. And when this is all done, the meat's going to be so tender. It's just going to be very, very nice and tender, and it'll really, really taste amazing. So I'm going to put the cover back on here, and I'm going to come back in 15 minutes and see if this is done. Now, I might come back every now and again, give a little stir, but I'm going to let you go for 10 or for 15 minutes. Go. Well, so we're back. Things are starting to come together now. One thing I'm going to do here that I'm not going to tell you how to do it. We're going to make some rice. Maybe 2 cups of rice. I'm going to have that made, and then when I come back, you'll see that, and then we'll start going from there. But I'm going to take half a lime, and I'm just going to start squeezing it in here. Based on what I'm actually using, I think half a lime should be good enough. So I'm going to cook this in here, and this should be good in 5 minutes. So, because it's already nice and tender now, so 10 minutes, this is going to be done. 5 minutes, sorry. And while that's cooking in there for 5 minutes, I'm going to start making some rice. When the rice is done, we'll be back. Welcome back. So, our meat's done. So I'm going to take the lid off that. Nice and tender. I'm just going to throw this in the sink. Give a nice hole there, and you can tell the gravy's all nice and thickened. The meat's nice and good. So you're going to ask, what's next? What possibly could you do next? Well, yes, it's a matter that I got to get my wife to start cleaning, but all wives need to do that, right? Do you want to say anything?
No, he can help me clean.
And this is 2 cups of rice. It's probably a little bit more. We used 2 cups when we made it, but here's some rice. Here's some unsweetened coconut. Now, if you're brave and you know much about coconut, you can do the coconut straight yourself. We're in Canada. It's not so much a Canadian thing, so we didn't. Half a lime. And just because I like to have a little bit of celery in it, say that there is some vegetables. And the only spice I'm really going to use, I'm going to use just a little salt. And, of course, coconut milk. Now again, when you're making hot food, you got to remember, you can make it as hot as you want. If it gets too hot for you and you just can't eat it, you always throw a little bit of coconut milk in, and that'll help tame the flavor down, so it won't be so hot. So I'm going to use a little bit of vegetable oil, or sorry, olive oil, and I'm going to stir that up here, get it nice and hot. I don't think Amy likes this very much. She doesn't seem like she's very hungry, but you probably
yes, I am.
Okay, I've been corrected. So we're going to wait until this is nice and heated up. This is going to take very long, and you can make rice fresh in there if you want to. I used a rice cooker. Rice cooker does a wonderful job of it. I don't really want to spend a whole lot more time in the oven. We've already spent half the day cooking the meat. Believe me, it can take a while. Sometimes it might take you an hour, depending on your scope. Depending on what you're doing, it could take quite a while. When you're looking for spice, especially Indian spice, I recommend Walmart. Walmart, at least in Canada, has quite the ethnic aisle. You can find a lot of Indian and Chinese stuff there. Not always the easiest thing to find everywhere else, but I assure you that you can have an easy time finding it at Walmart. They're good that way. So I'm going to use a new spoon because this is, not really useful at this point. So we can usually tell when everything's starting to heat up here, and it is, because of course we've been in the kitchen forever. So it's already hot. So we're going to start dumping some rice. Now, one thing I can recommend, if you're making rice is actually better the day after. So if you have a rice maker, I would start making some rice, and I would make it the day before and then put it in the fridge with the intent of having it the day after. Now, I'm not going to mix this in with that, simply because, you know what, it's two different containers. You take what rice you want, and you can always make more later if you need to. It's not a big deal. But my recommendation with rice is to make it the day before. Set it in the fridge and then start making it. You'll get much better results out of it. It'll taste a little bit better. Some of the starch will be gone. Now, is this the way that Indians do it? I don't know. I'm not from India, never been there. But I like to think that they probably would appreciate that a little more. So, if it's been sitting in the fridge, you want to start breaking it down a little bit more. It's like starch is very starchy, so it can be very sticky, especially if it's been in the fridge. Now, on this, you want to be very careful because this is not going to take very long. So you want to make sure you're breaking the clumps out very good. But you want to be careful because you don't want to take forever doing this. So it's pretty broken up. And then I'm going to start putting some celery in. To me, it's not a matter of cooking the celery. You don't want to cook it. You want it to be a little hot, a little steamed, warm, broken down a little bit. What makes this coconut rice is coconut. So we're going to start putting in this in here. We're going to take our spoon and start mixing it in really good. Now, I don't find that this is necessary. You don't have to have this, but I like it. So I'm just going to put a little squeeze or two of lime juice. Not the full half, but squeeze of it. Now, you can tell here, it's kind of making this a little soupy a little bit. Looks nice and wet. that in. I'm going to start giving this a nice little mix here. Let's just give it a really nice sweet texture. This, I don't know the right word to say it, it'd be very hot, meaty. This will be very sweet. So when this gets mixed together, it will be very good. Now, at this point, I don't think we need any more heat. So I'm going to take this off the heat. That's done, so I'm going to turn this off here. And then I'm going to grab a plate and then we're going to serve it, and I'll show you what a serving looks like. Just hope these ladies can appreciate a good meal. So, see how that has nice beef gravy kind of look? And then I'm going to take this is my curried beef recipe. So please do me a favor, hit like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends. Please don't be too harsh to me if you're actually Indian and you don't really like what I've done. I've tried my best. I really did. I've put an effort into this, and hopefully you'll like this. So please like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Drop me a comment. Tell me, hey Poul, you suck, or tell me, Poul, that was a good try. I appreciate it. Or Poul, you know what? I'm going to try this tonight. I really think it looks good. Let me know. But thanks a lot. Have a good night.